27th edition of the CBC Evening News and our top story. CONCACAF President Geoffrey Webb is one of several FIFA executives arrested by Swiss law enforcement authorities today. Media reports indicate that he could also be extradited to the United States to face federal charges of corruption. The 50-year-old Webb, aka Manion, was in Barbados back in October last year for the renowned Soccer Exporting Conference First Forum in the Americas region. He was among high-level officials gathered in Switzerland for Friday's FIFA presidential elections when he was arrested. Now, Webb, along with 8 other FIFA officials and 5 corporate executives, have been named by the U.S. Department of Justice in an indictment. Former CONCACAF president and FIFA vice president Trinidadian Jack Warner has also been named in that indictment, with reports that he is on bail after the United States made a request for him to be extradited.
Officials did say an investigation into Blatter is continuing. He's selected by members from FIFA's 6 member associations. Executives from the North and South American confederations are amongst those indicted. Geoffrey Webb is a vice president of FIFA and also head of the governing body for North America and the Caribbean. The 50-year-old was born in the Cayman Islands and also works for one of that country's largest banks. Jack Warner is Webb's predecessor on CONCACAF as president. He was also a FIFA vice president until he resigned following corruption allegations in 2011. And Jose Maria Main is a former head of the Brazilian Football Confederation. He headed FIFA's 2014 World Cup Committee and served as a governor of Sao Paulo in the early 1980s.
And we'll have more on this football controversy later in the evening news during the CBC Sports World, while at 8:30 the TV8 football program Extra Time will speak with President of the Barbados Football Association Randy Harris, who is in Zurich for the FIFA elections. Well, a record-setting winter tourist season for Barbados this year. The figures were revealed today by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, and Shane Seeley tells us more.
Top BTMI officials gave the media the good news during a news conference right here at the Hilton Hotel this morning. They spoke about the record-setting winter season between December 2014 and May this year, with arrivals from all of our major source markets up by 15%.
Preliminary statistics have revealed that during the first quarter of 2015, there were 171,471 long-stay arrivals. This is 22,458, or 15.1% more visitors than during the first quarter of 2014. This total figure is the highest on record for the first quarter in the last 25 years.
Breaking down those statistics, there was a record number of airline arrivals out of the UK for the season. 64,795 visitors represented a 12.9% increase over 2014, surpassing the 2008 mark of 62,000 UK visitors. There was a 27.7% increase in arrivals out of the US over last year, accounting for just under 38,000 visitors from that market, the second highest since 2011. Meanwhile, Canada registered the fastest growth rate at 28.4%, 6,834 more Canadian visitors, totaling 30,937 arrivals. Winter cruise arrivals were down by 6.1%, with 8 less ship calls than in 2014, resulting in just over 14,000 less passengers. But more of these visitors are staying in Barbados.
Cruise and stay passengers increased by 1.6% during the first quarter, bringing the total to 4,838 travelers who visited the island before or after their cruise journey. Those passengers are counted, incidentally, amongst our long-stay visitor arrivals. The majority of these visitors stayed for 7 to 10 days.
Now, to sustain this generally good performance in the summer, the BTMI has hinged its hopes on its Brilliant Barbados Summer campaign launched in March. Chief Executive Officer William Griffith says early reports are encouraging.
With approximately 40% of the participating hotels having reported on their bookings so far, we are seeing approximately 1,000 bookings, delivering approximately 2,000 visitors and at least currently 5,500 room nights. We anticipate that in terms of foreign exchange spend on island, that this will represent a very positive return on our marketing investment for this campaign.
And overall, summer arrivals are projected to increase by 3.6%, with major airlift out of the US. Meanwhile, there are slight declines predicted for the UK and Canada. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
The National Cultural Foundation has signed a deal with a private promoter to produce this year's Kahobla Pot, and it has made provisions to ensure that the company does not back out at the last minute, as happened with the private organizers last year. As Lisa Broom tells us, this was among the revelations made this morning at a wide-ranging press conference.
Last year, efforts to have more private promoters on board with the Crop Over Festival almost proved disastrous when the company earmarked to produce Kahobla Pot pulled out just weeks before the show was to be staged, and the NCF had to step in at the last minute to save the event. Well, a different company, Volume Entertainment, led by Leah Gajada, has secured the contract this year. And Culture Minister Stephen Lashley says a financial penalty has been built in to ensure there is no last-minute pullout. In fact, he says the penalty extends to other events as well.
We recognize that there are times when there will be challenges, and of course the NCF would be amenable to ensuring that discussion can ensue. But our focus is that once promoters have come on board and have indicated by contract that they will execute, that they maintain that commitment. We are expecting that by tightening the contract, that what would have attained last year would not occur this year.
Regarding some other events, the Foundation's Chief Executive Officer, Cranston Brown, told the media the popular Sweet Soca and Party Monarch finals will both become night shows. Sweet Soca begins at 6:30 p.m. and Party Monarch about 2 hours later. But there will be an entertainment package earlier in the day for the families that usually come out to the event. And there have been a few changes for the 54 bands and thousands of revelers who take part in the 4-day morning jam.
There's an additional assembly point, which will create a slightly longer route as Queen's Park. So some of the bands will be leaving Queen's Park, making the way down St. Michael's Road, and then joining up along the Wharf Road into Spring Garden. The cut-off time stays, but we're starting earlier. Hopefully we're starting at 10. We should start to assemble, and first band should move off earlier.
And with the closure of the stands at the National Stadium, Minister Lashley says bleachers and chairs will be put down to ensure there's an audience for the Kadooment revelers. There are plans to revisit the Junior Kadooment Day with an expansive play area and talks about introducing a junior DJ soca competition. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
The National Union of Public Workers is still dealing with several outstanding matters affecting workers of the Customs and Excise Department. This follows a meeting with those members at the union's Dalkeith Road headquarters this morning. It was one of the biggest meetings attended by customs officers and guards to date. It got underway just after 10 this morning, finishing shortly after 1 this afternoon, and described as being fruitful. At the end of it, Acting General Secretary of the NUPW, Rosalind Smith, says matters pertaining to appointments, workers in acting positions, and supersession must be dealt with. The customs officers and guards have been instructed not to sign any of the option forms.
The workers were quite clear that they will not be moving forward until their concerns are met. And they're very adamant. And obviously the union will have to take their concerns to the National Council so that we would be in a position down the road, if there's need for action, that the council will sanction that action.
President Akani McDowell says the union is committed to meeting the needs of its members.
The Customs Department is very important to us and to this country. They have given us a mandate, and we have no choice but to follow that mandate.
As for any action at the Bridgetown port, Mr. McDowell says the National Council of the Union was expected to meet this evening, where any further decisions will be made. Barbados Water Authority engineers suspect leaks at its Shop Hill and Lodge Hill systems have led to low reservoir levels. As a result, residents in parts of St. James, St. Peter, St. Michael and St. Thomas have either had low pressure or have been without water since yesterday. Corporate Communications Specialist Joyanne Haig says investigations are ongoing with a view to fixing the problem as soon as possible. She says that in the meantime, tankers have been deployed and they will be on the roads up until 10 tonight. A national effort is on to collect milk to distribute to less fortunate children in Barbados. The Milkathon, the first of its kind on the island, is being undertaken by the Pine Hill Dairy along with Tetra Pak and the Young Women's Christian Association. It will be conducted during the weekends of May 30th, June 6th and June 13th. Category Manager for Pine Hill Dairy, Henry Yearwood, says Barbadians can play their part by purchasing 2 specially labeled cartons of their whole and 2% reduced fat milk.
These 2 packages, you can buy any of these and you can either come up to Pine Hill and donate for the remainder of May and throughout the month of June, or to Banks Wholesale Depot in Newton. The Milkathon collection drive days, though, will be on May 30th.
The Pine Hill Dairy officially kick-started the Milkathon by donating 60 cases or about 600 litres of milk. The dairy says its participation is part of its responsibility as a corporate entity to give back to Barbados. President of the YWCA, Tamara Brathwaite, says participants in their various programs stand to benefit through the Milkathon.
We will give to our reading clubs students. We will give to the members of our breakfast club program, as well as to the people in our surroundings, which is the Deacons area, Rosemont, Blackrock, etc. And Sir Optimus has a very close relationship with the Eden Lodge area, as well as they work very closely with the Girls Industrial Unit.
Well, police have formally charged 23-year-old wanted woman Alana Crystal Nervay with possession of a firearm. She presented herself to the police accompanied by her attorney at law and later appeared at the District A Magistrates Court, where she was remanded until June the 24th. Lawmen had launched an investigation in response to a video which was circulated on social media showing a firearm seen on the ground at a funeral service. A member of the Barbados Defense Force collected the firearm, which was then stolen by a number of culprits after he was struck. Well, more news in just a moment, but first we want to get your take on this question. Do you believe that Austin Jack Warner should be extradited to the U.S. to face corruption charges? You can text yes or no to short code 8111 and we'll have the results for you at the end of our news.
Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you. I'm wonderful. What brings you this side? I'm dropping off my credit card application. What credit card application?
This Globe Bar credit card is the new buzz. Chip technology to protect you from fraudulent transactions. Interest rates from 12% to 16%. Annual fees as low as $25 Barbados. Great rewards every time you shop, and you can transfer your balance from any existing card.
Seriously, how Globe consistently makes life easier amazes me. And there's creditor life insurance to cover repayment of the outstanding balance up to $15,000 Barbados in the event of untimely death. People say life begins at 50. I beg to differ. Life begins when you think outside the bank.
Globe Finance. Think outside the bank.
Our life, our restaurant, our family means everything to us. A strong headache, then the pain goes away and our passion comes in.
Panadol Ultra, a combination of ingredients clinically proven to relieve the toughest pains, strong enough to relieve even the pain of migraine. Panadol Ultra, when strong pain is gone, life takes its place.
Today, you can do everything in just one click. Even keep your toilet clean and fresh. Introducing Lysol Quick Gel, a single-use applicator that helps you avoid contact with germs. Just click it in and recycle to enjoy continuous clean freshness with every flush for a full week. Lysol Quick Gel keeps it clean with one click. Lysol Quick Gel. Start helping.
Sale, sale, sale at Shoemax. The place to go for ladies' footwear is Shoemax at Dowell's House, Palmetto Street. For work, casual, school, and wide-width shoes, for maximum value on lady shoes and selected items for only $29.95. Go to Shoemax, Dowell's House, Palmetto Street.
Sunday on the People's Business.
Children are our heritage, and the Right Foundation is fundamental in the building blocks that support the pillars of our nation's future. Most of all, they need to be loved. Join Joan Crawford of the Child Care Board and Marcia Graham of Parados as they shed light in making the goal of producing productive citizens a reality.
You can be a part of the discussion. Just send your emails to talk@cbc.bb.
Chief Justice Sir Marston Gibson is encouraging local legal professionals to continue updating their skills. He was speaking at a seminar on civil procedures rules held at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center this morning for members of the Barbados Bar Association. That seminar is part of a $33 million justice reform and institutional strengthening project funded by the Canadian government. The Chief Justice told the lawyers continuous education is critical regardless of their level of experience. He noted that some senior lawyers do not read the fundamentals outlined in the civil procedure rules.
There was a time, and in the minds of some people there still is a time, that once you get admitted to practice law at the bar, or better yet, when you get elevated to the bench and you put those robes on, magnificently and miraculously, like manna from heaven, all the knowledge of the law that you ever will need descends on your head. We have always known that that is not true, and it will never be true. Indeed, continuing legal education, CLE, is an important part of delivery of the justice product.
Meantime, Senior Director of the Caribbean Regional Program and the Departments of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development and Canadian Director for the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Gail Miller, explained that the JURIS project aims to improve the judicial system.
The JURIS project's ultimate goal is to establish a judicial system that is more responsive to the needs of all citizens. JURIS seeks to improve court administration and the administration of justice in the Caribbean region by strengthening the ability of the courts and judiciary to resolve cases efficiently and fairly.
Barbadian fisherman Noel Armstrong has been located and is reportedly safe in the Grenadines. The 49-year-old St. Michael man was reported missing last Thursday. Reports suggest that he was found by two Vincentian fishermen. Interim Executive Director of the Caribbean Science Foundation, Dr. Cardinal Ward, says that the Caribbean has not been effective at proposal writing. He believes it is one of the reasons the Caribbean is so hesitant when requesting funding from international organizations. But he says it is a skill which is necessary.
Proposal writing is very important. It's important not just for the university, but also for private companies, startup companies that are trying to get money to invest in their product development, whether it's venture capital money or whether it's loans. You got to persuade other people to put their resources in. And that's an area that needs to be developed more and more in the Caribbean.
Dr. Ward was speaking at a Caribbean Science Foundation workshop at the Divi Southwind Resort, where guests were invited to teach Caribbean people how to write proposals properly. He believes students in the next generation should be equipped in writing proposals.
It'd be a good course to have in high schools, where students are taught how to write persuasive documents like proposals and business plans. A business plan is a proposal also, it just has a different name. And certainly the university should be doing this in their business school. The CSF should not have to step into a business school in Barbados and teach people to write a business plan. I'm assuming that they do that. I took that for granted, and that they can write proposals of the kind that we would send to the EU to get, to participate with others in Europe and Latin America to get joint research funding.
Well, moved by the success of the inaugural Health and Wellness Week, the event is back this year with added competitions for staff of the Colony Club Hotel. Competitive sports such as beach walking have been added, along with the Ironman and woman competitions. But it's not all about being competitive. Staff can also take part in activities during the week, such as yoga. General Manager Gail Thalma is hoping her staff will get the message of taking charge of their health.
This week is about you, the staff of Colony Club, taking something out of the week. It's about your health and wellness. We took it to the guests, and it's now about you improving your health and wellness, and we have a range of things.
Guyanese in Barbados celebrated that country's 49th anniversary of independence with a fun day at the pasture of the Samuel Jackman Prescott